Hi everyone, this is Lisa Haven, and I have been doing some rather hardcore research specifically in regards to the United Nations. And the report that I have for you today has not been shared anywhere else that I know of. And considering everything that is happening in the world right now, with number one, we have Islamic terrorist training camps here in America, 36 of them, none of which the government is messing with. They allow them to thrive and prosper. Number two, we see Obama and the Washington administration continue to arm the Syrian rebels abroad and stand against Russia, who's actually going against the Syrian rebel or against the ISIS invasion, which we know part of the rebels are also linked with ISIS, and a lot of the weaponry that we are arming the rebels with is falling in the hands of ISIS. Not only that, but also worldwide, we have Islamic and the Muslim religion coming into all the countries from our borders, and fanatical Islam is invading all across the globe and causing problems. They're having major rape problems in Sweden. They're having them all across Europe, specifically in Germany, pooping in the pools, raping in the pools, and crime has literally skyrocketed. Now, I believe I have the answer to why all of that is happening and why they are severely pushing the Islamic religion on a global scale. And so what I have to share with you today is a huge secret no one has talked about, specifically in regards to the United Nations. And I do believe this is going to answer a lot of questions for you and put those puzzle pieces together. So let's delve into that report. Okay, so here we are on the unitednations.org /peacekeeping. Now we are all, or most of us are well aware of the peacekeeping forces at the United Nations, who reportedly they are led by the Department of Peacekeeping Operations and work to create conditions of lasting peace. Don't they do everything in the name of peace? But we know and are well aware that the UN has a peacekeeping force. Now, let's look at Wikipedia and read what these peacekeepers actually do. Peacekeeping refers to activities that tend to create conditions that favor lasting peace within the United Nations group of nation-state governments and organizations. There is a general understanding that at the international level, peacekeepers monitor and observe peace process in post-conflict areas and may assist ex-combatants in implementing peace agreement commitments that they have undertaken. Such assistance may come in many forms, including confidence building measures, power sharing arrangements, electoral support, strengthening the rule of law, and economic and social development. Accordingly, UN peacekeepers, also referred to as blue berets or blue helmets because of their light blue beret or helmets, can include soldiers, police officers, and civilian personnel. The United Nations is not the only organization to implement this peacekeeping mission. Non-U.S. peacekeeping forces include, they're also in NATO, Multinational Force and Observations, Sinai Peninsula, and so on and so forth. So that is the quick breakdown of what a peacekeeper is. Well, then I did a little more research. All right, so here is a list of countries by the total number of peacekeepers contributed to the United Nations operation based on a UN report for the year 2015. Now, this is the latest that I could find. What you're actually seeing on this chart here is 121 countries. That's the total number of countries that contribute to the peacekeepers force at the UN, but that how many from each country contribute this many peacekeepers. That is what this shows. So we are going to specifically look at the top 20 because what I want you to notice is it starts with the highest number of peacekeepers, and as you go down the list, they decrease in number. So they get smaller and smaller all the way to Cyprus and down here in Mexico where they only have 2. Okay, so that is why I'm focusing on the top 20 because that is going to be the majority of your peacekeepers. Now, what I want to show you is really and truly going to drop your jaw to the floor, but it's going to also answer a lot of questions. But what I want to start with, and I'm going to jump between a few different reports here, but now that you know where the numbers lie and how they go from higher to lower, let's now look at what is the predominant religion of these countries, and that is what's going to floor you. Now, first thing that I want to mention is that of the top 20 here, 6 of them made the top 10 most predominantly Islamic Muslim religion countries. 6 of them are predominantly Muslim. I'm talking over 86%, but 90% of those that are predominantly Muslim. Those include Bangladesh with 994.32. They include Pakistan. They include Nigeria and Indonesia. They include Morocco and Egypt. Those are the 6 countries, 6 of the top 10. Let me show you that list so you don't take my word for it. Here we have 10 countries with the largest Muslim population. Of those, we had Bangladesh, Pakistan, Morocco, Egypt, Nigeria, and Indonesia in the top peacekeeping forces. That's here, sorry, of the top 26 of them. Now, the next thing I want to do is take you to my numbers put together with Islam by country. Now, what this is here, and I'm going to leave this link for you, is what I've done on this report I'm about to show you, is I took this list and I wrote the percentage of Muslim in each country, specifically in the top 20, and then I also did it with the end of the report. But Islam, predominantly Islam, here's all the Muslim percentage. So make sure you come and check my numbers. All the numbers can be found here, starting with Bangladesh. You can see 86.3% of Bangladesh are predominantly Muslim, percent of the total population. There you have that. Now let's go over to my report, which merges these two together. All right, so here is my chicken scratch. What you're looking at here, again, is the top 20 countries from Bangladesh all the way down to Uruguay. And here you have the total number of peacekeepers, and then you have the percentage of the population that is predominantly Muslim, Islamic faith. And notice the first one, Bangladesh, has 86.3%. Pakistan, 96.4%. Single, 95.9%. Indonesia, 87.2%. Morocco, 99%. Egypt, 94.7%. And here we have two 98.3% and 98.9%. And if you were to go through the entire report, I also did the last page on this, and I'll just hold it up for you. Hopefully you can kind of see it. There's only one with 99%. That's Iran. This is toward the end of the report. And that's because Iran, there's so much conflict. If they put them higher, we're in a lot of trouble here. But most of these, less predominant Muslim towards the bottom, more towards the upper portion of that report. Here is some more. This is just the second page here. Hopefully you can kind of get an idea. But as you can see from the first page on your report here, a predominant portion of them are Muslim. Now, what I've done is, if that is the case, and please check my numbers, then let's add the number together and find out how many of the top 20 are Muslim compared to non-Muslim. Now, my numbers kind of varied somewhat, but it came out to about over 50%. Now, if I'm confident if we take all the numbers and add them together in the entire report, that Muslim's going to majorly outweigh the other religion, especially that it dominates the top half. That's what we have to remember. And I do honestly believe the percent for Nigeria is a lot higher than it is here, because Nigeria made one of the top Muslim countries in the entire world, and yet it was only 50%. So I honestly think that's a lot higher. There's a few of these that I can see definitely moving up the scale, so to speak. Ethiopia is one of those in India, because there's a lot of invasions going on, and my report was just slightly older. So I tried to get the latest that I could. So I actually think that that number is a lot higher than it is. But total Muslim population in the top 20% of peacekeeping forces came out to about 39,715. So that was about 40,000 Muslims. Total non-Muslim other religions, which would be a slew of other religions, not just Christianity, came out to about 38,900. So under that Muslim religion. But what I want you to note is that predominantly 6 Muslim countries filled the top of that board. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of them, that's half, were predominantly Muslim. So maybe that answers why a lot of the things that are happening today are happening, because we have Muslim majority running the peacekeeping force at the United Nations. There's definitely an agenda here. And that's why I wanted to get this report to you, because I think it's a real eye-opener. It explains a lot coming from the UN. It also explains some of the stuff that we could run in, religion-wise in the near future. It's not looking good. We know in the Islamic faith, they practice, and the Muslim faith, they practice, Sharia law. Not all Muslims practice it, but most Muslims will say, yeah, I'm okay with Sharia law. Not all will. But I would... I guess it depends on who you ask. But Sharia law, which complete disrespect for women. We have Muhammad, who had sex slaves, married a 6-year-old girl. This is where we need to keep in mind what is coming ahead, where it's okay to stone a woman, where it's okay to rape a woman in the booties of war. This is why there is crime increase in all those countries. This is also why in the predominantly 55 Muslim-run countries, Christianity and Christians are persecuted. In the predominantly Muslim countries, Christianity is a target. So make sure you check that out, but great chart to keep here. Now, I could go on about the dangers of fanatical Islam, but I think most of us are well aware of those dangers. But it answers a lot of my questions. Why we have terrorist camps here in America that are not being taken care of. Why they're allowing the Islamic invasion. Why they are arming the rebels, thereby arming ISIS. Why they're dumbing it down in the media where they're attempting to suppress anything that has to deal with the Muslim religion, the Islamic religion. They don't want that stated in the media. So if there is some kind of crime from that, it's suppressed. It's being suppressed in Europe. It's Germany specifically, and here in America. But yet, if it's a Christian, it quickly gets promoted and put out there that it's a Christian. And it's not a Christian in reality. It's somebody who claims to be a Christian. But that's proselytized out there as some sort of wrong made right. But this is where we're headed. We're headed full-fledged into fanatical Islam. This is somewhere that we could see America going. This may be why a majority of the peacekeeping force, top 6 alone, made the top 20 at the United Nations. Out of 121, how do 6 predominantly Muslim countries make the top 20 out of 121 countries? Interesting. Very, very interesting. And you know what? I've heard no one report on that. Not a single one. And I think it's very important to know where the UN lies and who they're backing. And if that's the case, why are so many of them predominantly Muslim? And the funny thing is, I've Googled some reports and I came across a Guardian and an Independent report. And they say, oh, why is Christianity? Well, actually, it's not. I'm checking, and they claim Christianity is dominant at the UN. It's just not the case. The statistics and facts that I just showed you speak themselves. So why promote the lie? Why? Because if they say they're predominantly Christian, well, they can get more Christianity out of there and put in more of, whatever religion they desire. In this case, the Muslim religion. Top 6 made the top 20. Outstanding there as well. Now, I also wanted to tell you guys real quick about an alert I got from Food for Liberty. And I'm going to read it from my phone here because I think this is urgent. And I might do another report on this because it's kind of on the side. But if you're not prepared with food, please get prepared with food. Here is what I was sent early this morning. It says the U.S., and this was sent by Rick Wiles, sent it to Food for Liberty, my partnered network. And here's what he says. The federal government has demanded detailed inventories of food storage companies. They have told the companies that if something happens, they will seize, take over their inventories. Now, if we add that to the fact that they've already stockpiled on ammo, here they are getting ready for food orders. That's kind of terrifying. That's why I say you want to get food now, because if it breaks and something happens, we're going to be in trouble in the near future. Now, Rick Wiles also shared, in light of the attacks on a power grid, like if we were to have an attack on a power grid, Rick Wiles shared how a friend of 40 years who has a large prepping supply company, he quotes his friend in the industry, and he says, why such big orders from the government? I guess he asked them that. He says, when it goes out, talking about the power grid, it is not coming back on. That is something that Rick Wiles received from a friend who has a large power supply company, prepping supply company that he received from, I guess, the government personnel who had put in a large order. Also, Jim Baker, his ministry, primarily funded by his food storage sales, and various members of his staff confirmed with their own different food storage providing companies that their company was also contacted by the feds, and they demanded their inventory numbers, demanded them. Jim also shared that on his show. Also, Ted Koppel, former anchor for ABC News, a liberal globalist, but he wrote in his book Lights Out, and it scared him how unprepared the federal government is for some kind of attack on the power grid. So get it while you can. That is the note that we received early this morning about how the government is demanding inventory. They want to know how much they have in stock. That's a big red flag to me. And what that says, if they're starting to push it, and this is from 3 different companies that prep and supply food. If you don't get it from foodforliberty.com/haven, get it from someone, please. Also, another thing that you need to store up on is stuff for your health. I personally use getthetea.com products. The colostrum and the tea are 2 of my favorite. I also like the sea vegetables. I love the smell on those. But the tea, as far as, a detox, cleaning your system out from the chemicals that are constantly being thrown on us from our skies, the aluminum, the strontium, the barium, these kind of things that hit us from the chemtrails. You need to clean them out of your body. You need to clean some of the toxins and the poisons that we are ingesting on a daily basis. That is what Get the Tea does. It cleanses you. Also, the colostrum, I've been thinking better, and everyone in my house got sick except for me. Now, I felt something slightly coming on, but it went away lickety split. And this is the first year that I've been taking the colostrum and the tea that I didn't get sick in the month of February, when the bug was going around. So great stuff. Definitely recommend the colostrum, so check it out. Anyhow, make sure you subscribe to my channel. I try to cover everything that I can, specifically world events, what's happening in the world today, and anything else that is going on as far as Bible prophecy, and stuff with the New World Order, Illuminati, and the whole 9 yards. Anyhow, thanks again for tuning in. This is Lisa Haven signing off.